finding,
Yeah.
and in a certain way, it's so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, oh my God, I mean, you have to be in
Presence.
presence now.
Yes, absolutely.
To
But
see.
we can't understand presence with the mind because the mind cannot be in presence. The mind is the vehicle or the instrument of past and future. It's not its fault. So unless and until we discover who am I, out of which thinking comes. Where does thinking come from? It doesn't come from the walls. It doesn't come from you. It doesn't come from you. It comes from me. Who am I? Presence. It has to be. It's not like, oh, the thought is waiting for me to come. And then when I come, oh, it will pop out. It has to be ever present. But what is exhausting is the mind that, let me say it in the reverse. What is most lit, what is most inspired, what is most uplifting is your knowledge of the presence. How that can revolutionize this world of suffering is just in its baby stages. We've gone through a whole industrial cycle of materialism. That materialism has bred conflict, division. And it was always there. It's just because there's so many people now, it's so obvious. Overpopulation of the planet has brought it to a crisis. And we can't imagine what kind of enlightenment is ahead of us. We don't know how it could grow, how this knowledge, this presence, this knowledge of presence, which is like you were saying, it's the opposite of, it's lit, it's inspired, it's uplifting. Be an uplifting force yourself. We may be the pioneers in this Western generation of it. Don't despair that as if something is only worthwhile when everyone knows it. People who made great changes in our societies and the way that we live, they didn't have the mass appreciation and confirmation of it, but they went with it. They took that torch and they ran with it. Sometimes alone, mostly alone. That which is revolutionary has to start from somewhere. And you say, oh, because it's not known to everyone, how can it be helpful? It doesn't make sense to me. How, if it's not helping everyone right in this moment, then it cannot be useful. It cannot be meaningful. Christina, yeah. If you start a meditation group and you start talking this knowledge, you light your own flame and you start teaching as Gudrun has done, a few people to meditate around you, watch the effect of that light. Just make the experiment. See, does she really want to do it? She needs some help also. But see how easy. When I give her the job, she doesn't want it. You can never take away from the light because the light is just, it cannot be diminished. This is the amaram, that light which cannot be diminished. How can you take away light? So it's inspiring. Let's inspire each other and stay lit, and not with any sense to want to promote myself, because my life is this regardless whether you stay in touch with me or not. But if you wish to stay in touch and keep your flame lit, I never will expect from you to be regularly in touch, but anytime you want to be in touch, you don't have to explain why you haven't been in touch. You just start from the presence. I don't need your story. I don't need your participation. I'm only offering it because I do it anyway. My light is lit. That is the name that I have taken on, Shikha, ever lit. If you want to light your own flame, I'm willing to share, because I know this light is infinite. It doesn't take anything away from me. It doesn't add anything to me. So if you want to stay in touch, Gudrun has a sheet for your emails, and I send out a newsletter with a writing also that you can read, and that also the ways that we can keep our inner flame lit: to read truth, to speak truth to your friends, to hear truth through recordings or through talks, to be in the company of people who are lit, whether it's online or at these retreats, and of course to stay in your own light, which is in your own meditation. However I can inspire you to keep meditating, that's my delight to do that. So if you want to stay in touch and you want to stay lit, and by being lit, look at Gudrun. She took that light and she brought it to Stade and she kept it lit. And then this is the result. Yeah.
I have some moments where I can think, oh yes, I've got it. And 1 minute or 5 minutes later, where is it? I've lost it. And I know that you told me last year, and this was good for me, and I remember during all the year that it come back. It's not lost. It's inside of me.
Yeah. Can never
I have
lose
to know
yourself.
this.
You can never lose yourself, but you can be distracted to imagine that it is lost. This is why it's really only about remembering what you actually know. It's giving it some attention. Ignorance, the word ignorance, what is it in German? It means that which you ignore. From ignorance comes division. From division comes hatred, or desire. So take it back, take it back. If you stop ignoring that which you are, it changes the whole trickle-down effect. Yeah. I'm going to make a video series, especially for young school leavers, to understand what are the mechanics of the mind. If we understand how the machine works, then we can drive it. Otherwise, the machine drives us. Crazy. Great. Any question coming up? Other question?
I have a question about a quote.
Okay.
It's in the Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita.
Detachment is not that you own nothing. Detachment is that nothing owns you.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah. Well, let's think of it in the reverse. What is the story that someone owns you? What is the feeling that you are owned by something or someone? This is a really good question. A person feels obliged. Let's say the word own. Let's take the word owning to the word obliged. You feel obliged to suit other people's expectations of you, to suit your teacher's expectations, your parents' expectations, your friends' expectations. That's been owned. You've given away your power and put it in the hands of someone else. Well, it's no wonder you're not going to feel good about that. How are you going to feel good about enslaving yourself? But you've given away, not knowingly and not intentionally and not with any fault of your own, but we have given away our power. Because we want to be seen and recognized through the ego, through the mind ego. Mind ego is meaning the same thing, through the personal self. The one who stands strong in life is one who is not dictated to. They become the ones who influence others. Otherwise, you're always going to be the one who's influenced by others. How to turn that around? Saying the same thing again and again. You don't want to live an enslaved existence. You want to be the master. You don't want to be the slave. But master, I don't mean to be, now you have to dominate someone else. It's not about that. But just to not live an obliged life, not to live a compromised life. So what makes us feel compromised? What do you think makes us feel compromised? Where do you feel compromised in your life?
Probably authorities.
Exactly. You lifted yourself up in order to see that. Otherwise, you would have still been in the state of, I'm less, they are more. Because this is how our first years of our existence were all about everyone else was the authority. This is how we first knew ourselves, as small, weak, helpless, and not knowing. We practiced that a lot. We gained a lot of information that should have, or at least was presented to us, that we were going to get over the sense of not knowing. But don't you find it was never ending? I remember when I was at school, do you remember when you were at a certain stage and you saw, those who were in the senior years? They really looked like they had their stuff together. They were independent. Then when you got there, you didn't feel so independent and so cool and so together. Then you looked maybe at people who had children and had a house. Oh, they're the ones they're secure. Then you get there and you're like, well, it's not so secure actually. And then you look at someone else and you think, there's the authority, there is the security. And then you get there and you've still got the mindset of a child. I small. The world is big. I'm small. And this is why I create the seat. And he's young, but he still didn't mind sitting on the seat because it overcomes the sense of smallness that we carry inside. We're still carrying a child mind. And at one point you have to become the adult. The adult, as I was saying this morning, is the matured consciousness, including the fullness of your being, including your true highest self. That cannot be intimidated. I cannot like someone. It's not that we're going to enjoy everyone we meet, but you can cease being intimidated by the world and having to live an apologetic existence. Oh, sorry. Oh, I should have, shouldn't have, sorry. So great that you have discovered this so young, so early. And the inquiring mind that he has is a very evolved state. And a lot of kids in his age are just still working to fulfill the expectations of the intellect. But his intellect is more subtle. And I don't know exactly, but very often in this kind of scenario, the more subtle intelligence is not as appreciated as the intellect kind of intelligence. The prize goes to the intellect, or to the body strong, the body sporty, or intellect. But what about the aware being? Where is there an award and an appreciation for the aware being? For the one who is aware of the limitations of the intellect and dares to ask to go beyond the intellect and explore and expand into what is consciousness. I'm sure there's no award at your school for that.
I don't know. Everybody likes me.
Yeah. Very good. That's it there. Excellent. That's brilliant. That's reward enough.
Yeah.
But often it is not socially recognized. But if you're feeling the recognition of that, then wow, Jai-ho, that's great. Excellent. You're a great guy. Thank you.
Next one.
Excellent. Next.
When I'm here, I'm always so relaxed, and then when the normal life, like the dog, like my partner is coming here, then the pressure starts again. Because there's expectations.
Yeah.
We're not before there.
Yeah. That's okay. You can handle the pressure. Remember, you cannot break. You cannot break. Just take a few minutes every day in your busy practice, 3 minutes in a day to close your eyes. That's all. That's all. Just practice little and often. It's so much more powerful than a long time. Just take some moments. The pressure is there. I'm still going to sit.
Take a picture of you both on my...
Yeah, to remind you.
To remind me.
Just set an alarm every day at a certain time. 3 minutes. Yeah. Anyway, pain reminds you anyway, so it's okay. Pain, pressure, however you want to call it, that will remind you.
You're so special people. I mean,
You also. You also. People pay money to go and watch family dramas and movies. And the difference. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. You go and watch a movie, it's full of killing and love affairs and tragedies and separation and death, and you paid for that. And why it is that we enjoy it is because one simple thing that is missing. We don't say it's mine. And then we love it. So it's not yours. You're just in some family and you're watching the drama. At least you don't have to pay to watch that movie.
During the meditation, when thoughts came, I only said stories, stories, stories.
Yeah.
Only stories.
That's it.
And then it was okay.
Yeah. No struggle with it.
No struggle.
That's it.
No judge.
Great.
Yeah.
That's really profound. Now you see, you've spoken it. The more you speak this,
Yes.
that will counteract the habit of speaking ourselves in a way that creates more struggle. You want less struggle in your life? Talk about that space where there is no struggle. Great. This one point, you practice this again. You don't have to learn much. It's not complicated. You dig one well very deep and you'll reach water. You dig 100 wells this deep, you'll never reach water. Take one point that you learned from this weekend, or that opened for you, as Britta said, a revelation, or anything, or even something that touched you. It doesn't even have to have words. Or even some challenge that stirred inside of you. Stay with it. Dig it deep. Repeat it to yourself. Repeat it to your friends. And it will really open, as you said, everything will become all right.
One thing I have to mention, because I found that really, really not scary, but amazing. I just sat there meditating and I could feel my heart. I could just feel my heart as the heart is, and I could feel it. I felt my heartbeat before, obviously, but it was just so different. It was just really something very valuable.
Wow.
I just want to thank you.
Oh, that's nice, yeah.
Really good.
That's self-love. When that space opens, you have so much love for yourself, even for the for organs. You can feel, yeah,
Amazing.
yeah,
Amazing.
yeah,
Yeah, so thank you very much.
yeah. Great. It was really a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice places to have
Yeah.
everything, and
Yeah.
hope to see you again
We will meet
sometime.
again, I'm sure. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Nice. Amaram ham, madaram ham, amaram ham, madaram ham, amaram ham, madaram ham, amaram ham, madaram ham, amaram ham, madaram ham. Amaram ham, madaram ham, amaram ham, madaram ham, amaram ham, madaram ham, amaram ham, madaram ham, amaram ham, madaram ham. Amaram ham, madaram ham, amaram ham, madaram ham, amaram ham, madaram ham, amaram ham, madaram